All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're wading into some pretty dense territory, at least for me, cybersecurity law. I got to admit, it always seemed a bit out there. Something you'd see in a movie about hackers taking down the government. Not something I need to worry about.
Well, you're not alone in thinking that. It can seem pretty intimidating.
Right. But lately, with all these stories about data breaches and online scams, I'm starting to realize this cybersecurity stuff, it's not just for the tech whizzes anymore. It affects all of us.
You hit the nail on the head. And the thing is, technology changes so rapidly, keeping the law up to speed is a real challenge. What might have been a slap on the wrist a few years back could land you in serious trouble today.
So are we basically talking about a whole new legal system for the internet age?
In a way, yes. It highlights just how deeply integrated the internet is in our lives now. Early on, they were trying to apply laws written for physical theft to prosecute someone for, say, stealing data. Imagine that.
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. How did they even begin to address that?
It was a struggle. They had to get creative, relying on outdated laws, some even designed for, get this, telegraphy. Sending messages over wires. Can you imagine using those to prosecute sophisticated hacking happening today?
That sounds practically impossible.
It definitely wasn't ideal. But thankfully, things have progressed, and now there are actually international laws specifically focused on tackling computer misuse.
It's reassuring. So for those of us who aren't lawyers, what are some of the big no-nos in the cyber world we should be aware of?
Well, let's start with unauthorized access. Now, this isn't just about some lone wolf hacker breaking into government systems. Think about those fake login screens that pop up trying to steal your passwords. That's a perfect example.
Really? Something that simple can get you in trouble.
Absolutely. The law sees it as tricking you into giving up access to your information without your consent. And it's not just about stealing data either. It can also be about hijacking your devices, things like taking control of your webcam without you realizing.
Okay, now that's a bit creepy.
Yeah.
What other cyber crimes should people know about?
Have you ever gotten frustrated because a website was loading really slowly, or maybe it crashed entirely?
All the time, especially when I'm trying to get concert tickets or something.
Well, that frustration, it might be because of something called a denial of service attack. Basically, someone could be intentionally causing that website to crash.
Wait, really? And that's illegal?
100%. It's a way for bad actors to disrupt online services, and it's not just an inconvenience. Imagine this happening to a hospital or a bank. It can have real consequences.
It's scary to think about. So we've covered unauthorized access and denial of service attacks. What else is there?
Let's talk about aiding and abetting. Even if you aren't the mastermind behind a cyber attack, simply creating or sharing malware, think of it like nasty software designed to harm computers, is a serious offense.
So even if I just forward a suspicious email attachment to a friend, I could be in trouble.
Technically, yes. In the digital world, sharing isn't always caring. And law enforcement agencies actually use these aiding and abetting charges quite strategically. It helps them catch the bigger fish in cybercrime rings, even if those masterminds aren't the ones actually writing the code.
Right. It's like being an accomplice to a robbery. So we've talked about how cybercrime impacts, well, cyberspace, but are there any real-world implications? I mean, are there any cybercrimes that cross over into offline offenses?
Of course. The digital world is very much a part of the real world. Stealing is still stealing, even if it happens online.
Good point.
Right. Think about intellectual property theft. Ramifications for companies.
Absolutely. Because someone's hard work and ideas are being stolen.
Exactly. And then there's identity theft, which has become a huge problem in the digital age. Think about it.
Yeah.
Someone steals your personal data online to open credit cards in your name, access your bank accounts.
It's terrifying how much damage someone can do with just a few pieces of your personal information.
It is. It can ruin lives.
So we've covered what's legal and what's not, the black and white of cybercrime. What about the gray areas? The ethics of it all.
Now that's where things get interesting. Just because you can do something with technology, it doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Let's say a company sets up what's called a booby-trapped file to catch a hacker. Is that ethical? Even if it might be legally questionable.
So they're essentially baiting someone into committing a crime to catch them.
Exactly. It's a bit of a moral dilemma. On one hand, they're trying to protect themselves, but on the other hand, are they encouraging illegal activity? There's a lot of debate around that.
I can see how that would be a tough call. What other ethical dilemmas come up with cybersecurity?
Cyber retaliation is a big one. If someone hacks you, is it okay to hack back? Where's the line between defense and offense in the digital world? And what happens when governments start using these kinds of tactics? These are complex questions with no easy answers.
It sounds like a bit of a Wild West out there. So where does this leave the average person just trying to navigate the digital world?
The key takeaway here is awareness. You don't have to become a cybersecurity expert overnight, but understanding the basics is crucial in our increasingly digital world.
Right. Knowledge is power. It's like learning the rules of the road before you get behind the wheel of a car. You need to know what you can and can't do and how to stay safe.
Exactly. And as technology keeps evolving at a breakneck pace, the legal and ethical landscape is bound to shift with it.
It makes you wonder about the future. What new laws and ethical dilemmas will pop up with advancements in artificial intelligence, the metaverse, and whatever else is coming next?
That's the million-dollar question. It's something experts are grappling with right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. The digital world is constantly changing, which means the rules of the game will keep changing too.
Well, this has been a fascinating glimpse into the complex world of cybersecurity law and ethics. A lot to think about, but definitely eye-opening. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Hopefully you're walking away with a better understanding of how to navigate the digital world safely and responsibly.